description box below. I know you guys have been waiting for our next episode with both of them. And of course, we have a lot of questions to ask these beautiful patriots who both have different skills of divination to help us figure out answers to some of these lingering questions. How are you guys doing today?
I'm great, Bryce. How are you? How are you, Janine?
Good. And I want to remind everybody before we get started, I know for Tom and Janine, myself, and a few other people, we are kind of the last guys standing on YouTube right now. And so we have to be very careful about what we say. And so, yes, sometimes on our episodes, we do have to talk around subjects, and we will have to like bleep out certain words if we accidentally say a word. Now, I think I can speak for both Tom and Janine, where none of us really agree with censorship, but this is YouTube's house and YouTube's rules. So we have to try our best to stay within those boundaries. And the reason too is that because we are some of the last guys standing up on YouTube, we want to be able to be a gateway to all of our friends and peers who are on other platforms like BitChute. I know for myself, I wasn't even aware of these platforms before all of these shenanigans started happening. So thank you guys so much for bearing with us. Know that this is not something we like, but we have to deal with it because we don't own YouTube. So anyway. All right, y'all ready to get started?
Let's go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh,
just before we get into it, I just wanted to say, Janine, thanks for taking part in the birthday messages to President Trump, and I loved everyone's messages, but yours was one of my favorites. Just I thought your kind of journey from not being with Mr. T, and you were so honest and authentic about it, and then how you are, and it was just it was beautiful. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks for that opportunity, you guys. I thought it was a beautiful gift to him.
Absolutely.
It was.
I'm sure he's seen it. At least I hope he's seen it, but I'm sure
he's seen it. He's seen it. Yeah, he has.
Knows how much we appreciate what he's gone through.
Yeah.
All right. So for those who watch my channel, the last 2 Mondays in a row, sometimes on Mystery Mondays, I like to have a little fun with some, different mysteries. But the last 2 that we've done have been a very serious case. And this case involved 2 females that went missing in 1983 around the Vatican. One was Emanuela Orlandi and the other was Mariella Gregori. Now, Emanuela Orlandi's case was bigger than Mariella's case because her father worked for the Vatican. They lived inside the Vatican. Now, her brother has always stated and continues to state that the Vatican was behind this. And so I wanted to ask you, Janine, and then Tom, if you want the names for the gematria, what the cards say about the fate of these 2 girls. I don't know if you want to read them separately, just in the off chance.
Can you just spell them out, Bryce?
We'll do Emanuela first.
Yeah.
Emanuela, Orlandi, Orlandi.
Sorry, just say the last one a little slower.
Orlandi,
Orlandi. And the first one is Emanuela, yeah?
Yes, Emanuela. Okay. She's the one that lived inside the Vatican City.
Okay. I'm going to start with her.
Okay. And she personally knew Pope John Paul II, which is interesting.
Oh, it's really bad. Is her father still alive?
I think he's passed.
Father, badly aspected, so that's not the good way to read that card. Usually it's the good way if it's talking about things doing with Mr. T and the white hats and everything, but it's badly aspected. He sold her or made an agreement with the Vatican. So he gave her up as a gift to the Vatican. He knew all about it.
Okay.
That's like horrifying energy right there. Yeah.
Is she still, some people think she might still be alive and be in the breeder program.
Yes.
She is.
Working, producing children, working. children, working children.
So she's still alive.
Absolutely. There's the motherhood card. Wow. Okay. I also get, she might have been, or we might see her again.
I was going to ask that.
She possibly a rescue here because the outcome's really positive.
Wow.
She's been in absolutely the breeder program. We've got all of the cards indicating motherhood, children, and working as creating children. Okay. And she might have been rescued at this point.
So she would be like in her early 50s right now from what I remember. She was 15 when she was nabbed.
Yeah.
Now there was so I'll ask you this. There was, according to a website I found, and I don't know how true it is, there was a document a few years ago that somebody found and that worked in the Vatican that was concealed, and it like broke down all the expenses it took to keep her alive. But of course the Vatican said that was fake. Which, hello, do they think we're stupid? It was locked up in a chamber in the Vatican, of course. But what was that part of the breaking down of this case, was finding this document or exposing this document? If that makes sense.
Because, they're famous for keeping meticulous records. That's some weird thing about the dark cult. They like to keep meticulous records. That's their downfalls. They got bad memories or something, anyway, they keep meticulous records, and that's where they get themselves into trouble. But let's have a look. Oh yeah, it absolutely led to eventually, but what really saved her or cracked the case was Mr. T and the White Hats, or his organization that saves children. She must be alive still, is what I'm thinking. Of course, she wouldn't be still producing children at 50, although you never know. But I had a child really late in life and probably could have up until 50, like I was probably able to. So you never know. But I'm not assuming she would still be doing that. But somehow she was still alive. Anyway,
Wow.
she got found. I'm thinking 4 years ago, so that's interesting.
Wow.
I think they've been routing this stuff out for years. The more I look, the more it looks like they've been on this for years.
Well, Manuela's older brother, he's been like vocal since 1980s that the Vatican was behind this. They were blaming it on all sorts of stuff, but he was very adamant that the Vatican was behind this. What about the other girl, Mirella Gregori? She was I'll have to bleep that word out, but she was taken 40 days before Emanuela in Rome.
How do you spell, please, Bryce?
Mirella, Mirella, and Gregori is Gregori.
Okay, unfortunately, she was used in a really prominent, with a lot of really prominent figures as passed on over. Yeah. And I feel like, like soon after she was taken. So I don't know what the date of that was. We could look up the date.
It was 1983. Let me see if I still have the actual date. It was in the spring of 1983. She was, again, I'll take that word out. So she disappeared on May 7th, 1983.
Okay, so we know some of their big ritual nights are the 21st of June would be the next one after that. May 1st is a big one too, but she was after that. So maybe they were saving her for that, because it's saying basically within a month she was already
gone.
Now
her mother, on December 15th of 1985, this is Mirella Gregori's mother. The Pope visited a Rome parish where her mother was there, and the mother recognized a man in his entourage to be the man who picked up Mariella for her date the night she disappeared. His name was Raul Bonarelli, was the name of the guy that picked her up. I have to say allegedly for legal reasons. So is he still around, or has he been dealt with?
Wow, did she cry out about it?
No. So basically, Mariella told her mother that she had a date. She was going on a date that night, and a man picked her up in a car in Rome, Italy, and the mother recognized the man at at a parish in Rome with the Pope as the man who picked up her daughter for the date. But they never pursued it. No one ever pursued it.
Of course not. Of
Yeah.
course not.
Of course not. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you asking? Was that the guy?
Has that man been dealt with? Have these people been dealt with yet by the white hats?
Yep. Victory, and these are the good military.
Amazing.
Good. Yeah, he was one of the rounded up ones. So he must have been pretty old by the time they rounded him up, though.
It's that that party drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
That keeps him going. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or he got dealt with, it looks like, by some kind of military operation that had integrity. So it's like, I don't know, that sounds again like our good guys.
Globally. Yeah. And I know that Italy's had it hard this past year, but
yeah. Oh, they had a lot of cleaning out to do, though. Think about it. It's horrifying what's going on underneath the Vatican and et cetera.
Horrifying. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know somebody said that Pope Francis was maybe a cardinal during this time. This was Pope John Paul II. That was the Pope when these girls went missing. But of course, Francis, who to me is one of the most diabolical we've ever had, he was probably involved in this all as well, too, back then. Yeah. So we just got to drain it all out, just flush them all out, just get rid of them all. Yeah. So what about you, Tom? You found anything interesting?
Yeah, so the first girl, Emanuela Orlandi. Mm-hmm. So she's obviously gone through, horrible things, but it's great that she's, going to be coming back. And so her numbers confirm that. So 72 is Emanuela. 72 is first, also money, and Janine talked about, where she was sold into it. Orlandi comes to 73, which is number Egypt. But you add those together, 72 plus 73 comes to 145, actually, is numerology. And it also comes to Trump plus Tesla. So perhaps in terms of the healing and medical med beds and things like that, and interesting enough as well, something that's going on here in Europe is the soccer tournament, the Euros, and England played Scotland the other day. England is 57, which is Tesla. Scotland is 88, which is Trump. And actually the word Euros comes to 78, which is Kennedy. So you've got Trump, Tesla, Kennedy comes to 220, which is Operation Warp Speed. And I've been saying for a while, I think that the Operation Warp Speed and maybe other things is all part of the Tesla healing, etc. And so there's and the resurrection, all of that stuff. So, yeah.
He would be like
good honor. Yeah, could well be. Yeah,
a good person to, because I know this is a big case in Italy. She would be a good person to sit on TV and be like, "This is what happened to me. This is what I've seen." To help really shock these people that refuse to wake up, shock them awake. Because it was a huge case in Italy. I had to try to dig through a lot of documents that I had a real hard time understanding because it was all from Italy, but. Wow. Well, I'm really happy for her brother, her older brother, who has really been fighting for her since the 80s, that he will hopefully, I'll ask that, does he know yet? Does her older brother know yet that she's alive, and has he been reunited with her? I think both of her parents have passed, I think.
It doesn't look like he knows. It might have something to do with, I wonder, would you know if he's still loyal to his dad?
They don't mention much about the father, and maybe if someone, I could pull a call out on my channel if someone speaks Italian that wants to help me look deeper into this case to contact me, because there's some limits I have. But I never read where he called his dad out. He just always said the Vatican was behind it. Yeah. And he had a run-in.
He might not.
Sorry, go ahead.
You might not see his dad's part in it, is what I'm thinking.
Some trauma there when he has to accept it.
It could be tricky.
Yeah, he had a run-in. There was an article actually put on NBC News from like 2 or 3 years ago where he kind of had a run-in with Pope Francis. where he basically like kind of called Pope Francis out. So
Yeah.
it could be a trauma for him to have to accept that his dad played a part in his sister's horrific life. But anyway,
Sorry, girls, something with that. I just rechecked. So I incorrectly said 220 if you did Trump, Tesla, and Kennedy. It actually comes to 223. But sometimes I get that in a miss, and it kind of prompts you into other good things anyway. So in terms of her coming back, she's, coming back, I think, with the resurrection, etc. But actually comes to 223, which is a slightly different subject, but nevertheless a very powerful one. And I saw Janine and Nick talk about it yesterday, about the reset and the global currency reset. So if 223 comes to global currency reset. So I just wanted to make that clear for the viewers. So,
I know I started Mystery Monday to kind of let it be kind of a fun day of the week. And we've done a couple of cases like these girls that aren't that fun, but they're very, very necessary. And this information is super necessary. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep. And we will not let them continue to do this. This is unbelievably horrific. So my heart goes out to the Gregory family since they have lost their child, but I'm very excited for the Orlandi family that they're going to get Emanuela back. So that's
talking of people coming back. If we can jump into a topic and then maybe go back to some of the names you've got, Bryce. There's a clip. Well, there's a video. Last time President Trump spoke, he's done two actually on the phone. So he spoke to Sean Hannity, which we can talk about in a few minutes. And Sean actually asked about the witness protection program. So I want to go into that with Janine in a second. But also something else on another phone call, it's going around today, on Telegram, etc. So a little mini clip. And he's asked about conceding. So it's that clip about President Trump conceding. And he says a couple of phrases which really caught my attention. And he said, the word is concede. And then he says, I have not conceded. So he says it in that order. And the word, when you add it up, so word is 60, diamond, orange. Lady Diana's going to be 60 very soon, or if not already. The is 33, magic, Don. Comes to 93, which is flotus, which is kingship, Nazareth, which is Bushnell. So the word is 93. The word is 28. Comes to bank as well, so with the reset. But if you add 93 plus, the word is comes to 121. 121 is the golden jubilee, revelation. It's also Gotham City if you do the Batman analogy with President Trump. But then if you say concede comes to 49. So 49 comes to a few things. It comes to yes, it comes to bolt, it comes to crash, it comes to the color green. So I thought I'd put green on for that today. So you could say Bushnell green, but the word is concede. It comes to 170, which comes to bolt of lightning. And there's been a lot of things that I get in regards to that. We spoke last time about the magnificent sort of panorama of the New York skyline, and bolts of lightning are going to be part of this as we go into the storm. But then when he says, I have not conceded, this is very interesting. So I is 9, have is 36, not is 49. So I have not comes to 94, which is John. And concede comes to 53. So that comes to wheel, comes to Jack Kidd, comes to cyber, comes to Janine. So I have not conceded. So he's been putting comments out. But when you say that all in one go, I have not conceded, it comes to 147, which comes to Trump card, and it also comes to time reversal. And you add all of those things together, it comes to 317, which comes to uplift billions and billions of people. President Trump famously said that in one of his speeches. It's either, I think it was the Christmas one with Melania, or it might have been, they might have repeated it again just before he did the step down in January. And that comes to a few things. It comes to Donald Trump as Jesus Christ. So I wanted to ask Janine about that. I've got my numbers and thoughts on that. Everyone knows what I believe about that. And also, if you do Jesus Christ, that comes to Lady Diana Spencer, and then you add the remaining numbers, which is 166, which comes to White House, but it also comes to administration. So it's quite interesting the phrase he said. So to just repeat it again, it's the word is concede. I have not conceded. So he says 170 plus 147 Trump card comes to 317, which is uplift billions and billions of people. And also Donald Trump is Jesus Christ. So maybe we can just ask that direct question, Janine, with the cards, because ask the cards about Donald and who he actually is.
Okay, I get this card so many times when I look deep into him. That's a goddess. So there's some kind of divine feminine he's bringing.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So, I mean, maybe Jesus did bring some divine feminine energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he was definitely very Piscean, which is like everything. So it's not a male or a female. Piscean is like everything blended.
Yeah.
And he also heralded the very beginning of the age of Pisces, which lasts 2,000 years, which is just ending, and we're beginning the age of Aquarius. So Piscean energy would, this is more the age of, or the coming back of the divine feminine. So it's saying that he's part of that. Okay, so we've got...
Well, and for those,
and Diana's numbers, if you do Lady Diana Spencer, comes to 151 Jesus Christ. So that's interesting. With that,
there's a divinity around him, and he's definitely doing good for the world. This is underneath him. But I wouldn't say there was a yes on Jesus Christ directly here. But if you think about it, the divine feminine and bringing that back would be something Jesus would be into doing. So he might channel some of that. I mean, you got to remember these really big upper souls that are doing huge work. They channel all kinds of energy. They don't just come with one. They could be a grouping, a soul group of energy they're bringing.
Yeah.
So it's a potpourri.
One,
Yeah.
A potpourri. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we know Jesus was a multiple souled being. That's what they say. And most of those kind of figures that leave that kind of mark on the world, prophets or whatever, they're multiple souled energies. So he could have been part of that group for sure, but he's bringing a real divine energy, but it's more like the divine feminine back on. So he's heralding something in, which is really interesting, because certainly not how they painted him in CNN. He's like they painted him like, and of course, all of the media all over the world, and some of them still do, paint him like a big chauvinist and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, every time I do deep look at him, he gets the Empress card well aspected. So we can't be like that. Generous, loving, like, wow. It's like he's not like what they're saying he is. So that's interesting.
Can you dive more into the thought as well about, you said about, because I was thinking that one of the questions I was going to ask you, but you kind of brought it up. Were there more than, were there many Jesuses? Were there many Christs? Were they one and the same? Or is Christ kind of above, you've got Jesus Christ, but then are there other Christs? I tend to think there probably are, but you just said, Jesus Christ was a multi-being. So that was very interesting. You kind of came up with that without me asking that question. Can we look at that maybe more? Are there multiple Christs? Like in that group?
Well, it looks like multiple energies, but they all rounded themselves into one being.
Okay.
So that's why his presence was so ominous, because he was a whole bunch of knowledge from a whole bunch of soul energy. So when you meet someone who's really charismatic and really leaves an impression in a really big way, usually I think it's because they're bringing a lot of soul energy with them.
A lot to the party.
Yeah.
The missing books of the Bible that we've been breaking down on my channel, there's quite a few books that the churches want. Back in the 4th century, you would have been basically owning, where Jesus anointed more women to go out and teach than
Yeah.
men.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then they got rid
Hello.
of that. Do what?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like more women. You know, they wanted Mary Magdalene to be seen as this like destitute. I might have to bleep this word out, but prostitute. She
Yep.
never was.
Yeah.
She never was.
That's always how they painted it in, in Catholicism for
Yeah.
sure. Because when I was growing up, that's what I was told.
She was actually from a very wealthy family and was probably pretty well educated for a woman in that time. And she was obviously very smart because she, out of all of his people, she was the one that was his Shakti. She was the one that he really passed a lot on to. So that's interesting. Yeah. Cause Trump he's got a lot of women around him that he trusts with a lot of, that's awesome. Well, while
just another part of that, Bryce, just before we jump onto that, just the other part. So Sean Hannity, so there was, if anyone can watch, well, I would say to everyone to watch it because President Trump speaks for about 24 minutes or so in this phone call with Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity actually is interesting. His numbers come up to 130, which comes up to the Kennedys. And they start, well, early on in that conversation, they talk about, I've forgotten his name now. What's the guy that the Mueller, not Mueller, what's the guy that's the prosecutor? I've forgotten his name, got the glasses. Durham.
Yeah, Durham.
They talk about Durham. And President Trump says, well, there's Durham, and then kind of leading on that he's going to be, coming out with stuff. And then Sean Hannity says, he kind of re-jumps on it. He says, yeah, where is he? Is he? And he says this, he says, is he in the witness protection program? And President Trump carries on talking, kind of, ignores it. But then he says again, is he in the witness protection program? So Sean Hannity asks the question and makes the statement, witness protection program, twice, like within a matter of seconds. Wow. And then they start talking about, President Trump talks about a number that we've not heard for probably maybe best part of a year. Right at the beginning of lockdown last year, President Trump would refer to Spanish flu, and he said back in 1917. Now, the Spanish flu is recorded as supposed to be at 1918. So 1917 is the year that JFK was born. So that was always a reference to JFK. And because we don't hear President Trump speak every day, we haven't heard that for a while. But he made a special point of 1917 about the flu again. And they talked about the witness protection program. And I did a lot of more decodes on the whole thing, but there was a lot pointing to JFK Jr. and Diana, and probably Bobby as well. So I'm just wondering if we could ask, the question in regards to those three, those four, are they coming back very soon? I think they are, but I just want to see let's have a look, see what the cards say. Maybe we should ask each one individually, Janine. I don't know if that will work better.
Let's just look at, is there a stepping out? And we'll see who we get around it. Because we'll probably be able to isolate them in the reading here.
Cool.
So we've got the page. So it does look like they're them, or some of them, or possibly all of them. I'm thinking the woman might come out first. So the woman being, I guess that would be Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Although she was a Cancer, so there's, she would be more the Queen of Cups, but she could also be speaking and bringing some truth. So maybe she'll come sort of with this kind of energy, because it doesn't have to be her birth sign. It could be her energy, but it feels like the woman's coming out first, and she's going to help the sleepers, I think, kind of open their hearts to what's coming.
Right.
That's coming. And now JFK, that one looks like they're trying to decide when, how, and that's a work in progress. So that card's like that they're checking in with that, seeing.
And that's original JFK, yeah? JFK 1.
Okay, is that what you're asking about? I was thinking here.
So the three, Diana, JFK 1.
Yeah.
Because he's the one born in 1917, and they talked about the witness protection program, and then obviously Junior, and then Bobby.
Yeah, I'm thinking Junior for sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe that's why this card came up for JFK1. I'm not sure they haven't decided on that. That card's still deciding. It's like, well,
Okay.
you feel like that might be a little up in the air if they think they need him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Bring him back. Come on, bring him back.
Who was the
I think he's
last
coming
one?
back. So, we've done JFK Jr., and then Bobby. I think all three are coming back. Maybe Patrick as well. I'm sure.
Oh, there's a definite yes on Bobby.
Yay.
And I feel like Bobby's been really active, and we've probably seen photos of him and didn't even, a lot of people wouldn't have noticed. So he's been very brave in showing up at various events in the past.
Brilliant.
Wow.
I've had orbs back in the day. I've had orbs appear when I've talked about, well, JFK and Junior and Bobby, and I had two intersect. They fizzed across the script. There's a very clear video I've got where it was all going on behind me, and I didn't know until someone pointed it out to me. But so that's cool about Bobby, yeah. And he's kind of, often the one we don't hear about as much,
Right.
But that's so cool.
Well, his son has been very active. Robert Kennedy Jr. has been very active, and
exactly.
He did a beautiful.
He did the touch the nose.
Yeah, the touch the nose thing. Yeah. Did you see that, Janine? Where somebody?
I did.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, speaking of witness protection, I don't know if you've done a deep dive on this yet, Janine, or not. I feel bad. I kind of forgot about this person, even though it was a pretty big deal a few years ago. But a lot of people speculate this particular actor is in witness protection, Isaac Cappy.
Yep.
Have you read him?
I did. I looked around him, but not for a while. So let's look. I looked right after his leaving the Earth plane.
Right.
But I haven't really looked. So let's have a look.
That was weird. If y'all have not seen the breakdown of his departure, there's very weird stuff. The date, the time. Yeah. Do you know who he is, Tom? Isaac Cappy?
Yeah.
He was very brave person.
He's in hiding.
There you go, people.
He's in hiding, and they needed to make it look like he left the Earth plane, but he's in hiding, and he's going to be, or could even be already at tribunals.
So is he a witness?
Yeah, he's working for the good guys.
I mean, he was brave. He turned his friends in, basically. If y'all have not seen, he basically saw stuff with some of his very high powered friends, not on camera, and was like, y'all, my friends are the P word. And for those who don't know, Mr. Hanks was the one that had now, can we ask the cards that? So we suspect that Mr. Tom Hanks was the one that put the signal out to take him out. So did he do that? And did the White Hats intercept that? Or was that all a rouge by the White Hats to make it look like he had been taken out, if that makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but.
So the signal was put out, but hadn't been accomplished yet. And the good guys jumped in and did it before. Yeah, so the good guys did it to make it look like the bad guys did it.
Okay.
But the bad guys knew the good guys did it, so they know he's alive. So they knew. They knew they'd been had. These guys did it before the bad guys did it. They hadn't got around to doing it, but the hit was out, and it was picked up by, I don't know, some kind of communication. The good guys heard about it, because I think they've been listening in on those bad guys for a really long time, and it looks like it's with off-world technology, because that's my off-worldy kind of card these days when we talk about these subjects. So I'm thinking they picked it up with that maybe satellite that they used, the Internet of all things, or there's so many ways you could talk about it, but they're listening in on those bad guys for a long time. They used their own technology and got them right back.
Was he kept on the planet, or was he taken off planet? I always think, where are they hiding these people to keep them safe? I would be so nervous.
I'm literally asking him. Okay, so he doesn't want to tell us.
Where they kept him?
Yeah. The fool. So he's not willing to talk about it. He said it was all very traumatic and fast. He didn't even know the good guys were in on the route, like taking him off. So he took him a while to even realize he was in the movie. Right.
Yeah. Well, he was a big 16+1 follower from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So then he got taken and debriefed and led in on what was going on. And I feel like he can't really tell us where he's not willing to say.
Will we
be seeing him know again? Later.
Will we? Okay. Yeah. Wow. I mean, if y'all saw the last video he put up on like Periscope or something, it looked like he was traumatized. Like he looked like he was stressed. So that's good news for all the people out there. That makes me happy because he did seem like a very innocent, trying to help, trying to do the right thing type of person. And the fact that they swooped in and took him and protected him is that's what the white hats do. So that's awesome.
He had tons of info on the party substance, etc. So he's going to be really helpful with that kind of info, right?
Good. Awesome. What did you get? Do you have any numbers for him, Tom? Did you get anything?
I didn't actually, no, but I've got a few more on the witness protection. So if you do the two words witness, so witness is 109, which comes to the number 17, comes to Zapruder, i.e. the Zapruder film for JFK. It comes to Diana Spencer. It comes to my YouTube channel, Psych Club. It comes to Saturday. You know, Doc Brown is always saying that next Saturday night we're going back to the future. Protection comes to 135, and we did a deep dive on a few people about that a few months ago. So we did Piers Morgan comes to 135, Tiger Woods comes to 135, Stock Exchange comes to 135, Wall Street comes to 135. But if you add them together, it comes to 244, which actually comes from President Trump's father, who is Frederick Christ Trump, hence the questions earlier about Christ and Jesus, etc. But if you do the words, and also the word program comes to 88, which is Trump. So if you do the witness protection program, it takes you all the way through to 365. So that makes you think, 365 days of the year, fully protected everywhere, you know, a full circle. Another thing that's interesting is, that's good. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, that's good. I'll leave it at that.
It's exciting. I can't wait to see all these people come back. I can't wait. I mean, I'm sure the normal people out there are going to be like shocked, to say the least. I've got Janine, so I heard a while ago that perhaps there might be a number of these witness protection programs, but apparently one of them is called the Gaia program, or the Gaia Witness Protection Program. Gaia, you know, like the Earth. So Gaia, when you spell it, is Gaia. So that actually comes to 18, and 18 is the letter R. So, you know, like the symbol for Batman and Robin, R, and you've got in the community people refer to Junior as, sometimes they reduce it to just R, so a letter R. I'm wondering if you could just ask, is there such thing as the Gaia Protection Program or Witness Protection? You know, is that accurate, that name? I heard that maybe that's the one Diana was in, and maybe they're all in that one, and maybe that's the only one. I don't know.
Yep. Whenever I get an ace as a yes.
Okay.
The reason they would use it, it looks like, because it's got a lot of otherworldly help to it.
Okay.
Like it feels like it's used when there is going to be the need to take these people off planet sometimes, or back and forth. Like it feels like it's next level as far as
Yeah.
Utilizing technology and off-world knowledge. And yeah, that's for the very, like, where their life is constantly going to be in danger if they stick around, that kind of. So that's for the really big, but the big names that
Big players.
they have to really protect those people, because there's a huge desire by the dark cult to get rid of those people. You better believe it.
Yeah. Could part of that protection apparatus involve time travel? Like, could you take, perhaps JFK, Diana, part of the time, would they have maybe been taken to a different timeline and able to be protected there? Is that part of it? Or maybe it's, other worlds, or,
I've never thought about that. That's interesting if they could do that.
Yeah, I kinda, but not exactly. Maybe dimensionally different.
Okay.
Dimensionally, and so this says taking them somewhere. So that's a travel, but it could even be other galaxies and places you don't even know about that exist, that we don't even know exist yet. That kind of thing. And then we got the Wheel of Fortune here. So I feel like it's dimensional. And then this card. So they could even be existing in different dimensions, watching over what's going on here.
So they could be amongst us, but different dimensions.
Yeah, like dimension. And this is going to sound weird, but Native Canadian, like the Haida people. So I studied Native medicine with a Haida medicine man. So if you look up the Haida Gwaii, Haida and Gwaii, Haida Gwaii, and that's an indigenous name for the islands that used to be called the Queen Charlotte Islands, which of course they ditched that name as soon as they could legally in Canada and called it back to and it means islands of the people. But those people believe that ravens come in and out, that the ravens and lots of animals actually come in and out dimensionally.
Yeah.
And that they show up when they're needed. That's why I have the channel Sending Ravens, because I was taught to use raven energy as a healing, and they come when you need them. And as
I always wondered why it was called that. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I send them out, and they're very healing, and they've actually saved me on several occasions from various different dangers. They come and warn me, literal ravens. And when I send them, some people even know, like my brother, I'll send him ravens, and he'll be like, "Did you send me 7 ravens? Because I got them." Right. So 7 ravens will show up. Yeah. So weird things like that. But anyway, ravens are interdimensional, and I believe that people can go interdimensional. I mean, the world is so more complicated than we think it is, right? So we're curious. So this is what it's really like.
Right.
A little different maybe, but time travels one way you could say it, but this card says, tweak it a little.
Dimensional portals.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Time, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Can you spell that last part? Haida. How was the last part, please?
So Haida and Gwaii, Gwaii.
And the first one is Haida.
Haida.
And it was Queen Charlotte's Islands, yeah?
Used to be called the Queen Charlotte Islands.
Okay.
So this just popped in my head, just because
Agatha.
well, no, I was thinking about the Garden of Eden. Is the Garden of Eden like a literal place in a different dimension?
Ooh,
Yes.
no question.
Yeah, it is.
We read about that in the book of
Yeah.
Jubilee, and like it's supposed to be here on this earth, but obviously we don't see it. So is it totally kicked out of a certain reality?
By the way, the Haida Gwaii is the only rainforest in Canada. It is very, very unique. And sometimes in the summer, in the best, like sort of, because it can be really, really rainy and very spooky and stormy in the winter. You have to really, really know what you're doing if you're going to live there full time, as I did for about 9 years. But anyway, a lot of ritual could be done and a lot of art, but it was the most magical place. And it felt like on a good day in the summer, literally like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's beyond amazing. And like berries grow double the size there. You could go to the beaches, and literally we lived on the beach when we first moved there, and we literally just ate off the land. And we were not even like outdoorsmen, like me and my brother and his girlfriend and my ex, who I had my daughter with. Anyway, we lived right off the land. on the beach and literally ate really well with no money. I mean, and I'm not saying people should go there because actually they're really closed down since this whole situation with the fakeness of, you know what. So they got really, really fearful and closed it all down. And it's actually really hard to live there because if you're not accepted by the community, because the Haidas, they rule the roost there and it's their land and they take that real seriously. And I respect that. But if you're meant to be there spiritually, it really takes care of you. And if you're not, it spits you out. That place is literally like a different dimension. And I'm not kidding.
Well, that sounds like what I'm thinking maybe the Garden of Eden was. Like we were, you know, when we look at like the fall of man, it seems like it's way more complex than the way that the church has taught us. And it was like we were spit out into another dimension of reality that maybe wasn't as...
It was an idealistic, so this is describing the Garden of Eden, which would be like abundance. She's abundant and comfortable and leaves nothing overturned for her own comfort or others that she loves comfort. So the Garden of Eden was a place like that with total protection and very, very goddess like. So all the comforts of the world. So we're not talking about, we're talking about how a loving mother makes you really comfortable, right? So she feeds you really well, fluffs up your bed and make sure
pillows,
and like she's loving and kind and good sense. Like she'll burn some nice interest. I'm just using my own description of what's comfortable and loving. But anyway, so she's like that. So it's like,
it feels good. I'm there.
I feel like it's a place that was created in the imagination of those early humans. So it was a place created and then it was uncreated by some kind of maybe debauchery of mind or choices that they made that took it away from them because of their choice.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. And we can build our way back over there. I feel like we're going to build our way back there because we stepped away from it, you know, maybe for thousands of years, thousands and thousands, you know, lifetimes and lifetimes, because we had a bunch of stuff to learn about freedom of choice. Even like this dark energy that took over the whole world and enslaved us was part of, I think, our own creation. And that might sound crazy, but I believe everything happens to teach us something about our power. And we wouldn't know how powerful we are if we didn't put ourselves in these positions.
I agree. Actually, in the book of Jubilee, it talks about that where, was it Noah? One of the old, you know, church characters was talking to God and like making a deal with God to get all these demons off the earth. And Satan comes up and is negotiating and God says, okay, well, I'm going to put 90% of them I'm going to take off the earth, but I'm going to leave 10%. And a lot of Christians have a problem with that, especially since the book of Jubilee isn't, you know, considered canon. But it's like, well, if we didn't have some darkness, we wouldn't grow and understand. We wouldn't have the ability to choose. We wouldn't have the ability to learn. So I absolutely understand what you're saying. Gosh, the world is just not what we were taught it was in any way, shape, or form. Not at all.
We got to relearn everything.
Everything. And
there's another. Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Tom.
It's just on that that feeling of well, I'm saying this correctly, Haida Gwaii, and then the Garden of Eden. When you were talking about that, Janine, one of the places I've been that I felt really just magical, I was just there for an afternoon, is the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. And I went there a number of years ago. I did a speech the next day in Belfast, but I'd never been to Northern Ireland, so I got a car and drove around, and there's the Carrick-a-Reid rope bridge, which is great. But when I got to the Giant's Causeway, the only way to describe it just felt magical. And I'm just wondering, maybe you can just see what the cards say about that. Like, kind of, it felt like a portal of some description. It just felt incredible.
That's in Ireland, you said, Tom?
Yeah, Northern Ireland, Belfast. It's those hexagonal volcanic rocks that Giant's Causeway, and it goes all the way out to Stornoway in Scotland. If you know ancient, you know, mythologically, but it's just beautiful. When I arrived there, I was like, wow, this is special. It felt like being in Harry Potter. It just was amazing.
Allegedly, there's a lot of portals to Agartha in Ireland.
Yeah, this feels like a portal to me because that's a gateway card. So it's a gateway to somewhere really magical, and it's protected by some ancient druid kind of magic here.
Okay.
she's my, like, she would be like the pagan goddess, sort of very, very powerful, very masculine, feminine balance. She's magical, but not necessarily the night. You know, when some people think of spiritual beings or spiritual energy, they think, oh, nice and kind. And she'll brutally protect her family if she has to. Like she'll think Vikings, think powerful women, think, but she'll look you up and down and size you up. And if you're dangerous to her family, you're in trouble. Yeah. But if you're good, she'll know, like that. She'll see, like it's not like, we're not talking about nicey,
no,
like a new agey kind of angelic-y kind of, which is, there's that too in the world for sure. But she's not that. She's earth plane, protecting her family, and absolutely really sexual. And you'll probably have to cut that word out, unfortunately. You know, like,
you can keep it in, Janine. That's all right. You can keep that one in.
Oh, that word's okay.
She understands.
That's all right.
You know, she understands her femininity in a really powerful way, and she's not afraid.
It felt incredible when I can feel it now. Like when I was there, just particularly when I first got there, and before I got onto the rocks, just kind of coming up to them and saw people just kind of walking around, and then got onto the rocks, and it just felt very familiar. It felt like I'd been there before, and it felt like a portal. And it's very interesting what you've just added to that, and that totally resonates. Everyone go to the Giant's Causeway if you haven't been. It's amazing. Yeah.
I have one question that I wanted to end with, and it's going to kind of take a little 180-degree turn. And I'm going to ask this question, just this one simple question, because on Friday night, I'm going to be on with George Eisman. We're going to be doing a deep dive into Anton LaVey, which is, I've spent like all weekend and all yesterday just going down the rabbit hole with that interesting person. So I'm going to ask one last question. I'm just going to leave it at this. Is Taylor Swift biologically related to Anton LaVey?
Who is Antoine LaVey?
Anton, he was created the Church of Satan in 1966. Very cartoon characterish, the way he looked. Are you familiar with him, Tom?
No.
Oh, I do know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Black House in San Francisco. I'll send you.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah. They like to keep that under wraps, though.
Well, if y'all haven't seen Anton LaVey's daughter, Xena, she looks just like Taylor Swift. Can I ask, is Taylor Swift Xena's daughter?
No, there's more of a sibling line somehow.
Okay.
Like there's relative, but this wouldn't be daughter. This would be more sibling. So there's connections, blood connections, but it's different or more unique. It says this is unique and this is sibling. So in a unique way, a sibling. So I wonder if I got a feeling the guy gave his seed to create both of them.
Well, that was gonna be a question. And I guess the cards kind of said sibling, but you know, people think that she might be a clone, which I don't think she is, of Xena, but I thought that maybe her biological parents would be his daughter and him. The big I word.
Yeah, that's looking more, you're getting there. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, interesting. All right, guys. So we'll dive more into that on Friday, but yeah, and we know her music is completely just covered in all sorts of interesting symbolism. So
she's unfortunately very much brought up she was probably given over to her supposed parents, and they're her handlers, her dad in particular. And Ashley and I have really deep dived, and she's come in and out of her programming or ultraing or whatever they call it. And she's been crying out for help for a really long time. I feel for her, actually.
I actually do too. When I was researching even Xena, the daughter, because she left. And Janine, I can send you, and Tom too, I can send you all my research if you want to do even see for any other episodes you guys want to do in your channels, just to look into this. because
Yeah, as you were talking about Xena, yeah, she left because she was brought up with SRA.
yeah, she's talked about it.
Yeah.
She was basically sent out by her dad. And the thing about what I'm going to say about Anton LaVey is when you look at him and you see all the there's a big theatrical ridiculousness to him that makes you think he's harmless.
Yeah.
You know, people call him like Count Dracula, but
he's taken it seriously, trust me.
Yeah. Oh, he died in 1997. Alleged. Well, maybe we can ask that one last time before we go. Did he actually die in 1997?
No. He moved over and took over a child's body and is with us today. Yeah, they did something. They transferred him over or something, some weird, unique strategy to keep him, like, so he could have another life, right up, like where he chooses. See, what they're trying to do is they're trying to skip karma that way. It does catch up to them. So he had his soul self or essence, or I don't even like what's left of his soul, or I don't know how it works. But his consciousness, let's use it like that, transferred over and is utilizing another youthful body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, and they tell us this in movies. There was a movie that came out with Kate Hudson years ago. I think it was called The Skeleton Key in New Orleans, where it was all about that.
Yeah. He's doing that. Yeah.
Wow, y'all, if you don't know who Anton LaVey is, like, look him up. You'll have to go on DuckDuckGo to find a lot of the real information, because Google will just give you what they want you to see, where he was just harmless guy that was just kind of goth.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Yeah. No, that was to fool us, to think he's just some elaborate cartoon
Nothing
character.
to see over here.
Yeah.
Nothing to see.
We're just funny goth people doing our thing. No. This is, I was horrified at things I was finding yesterday. And so thank you for clarifying that for me. Is there anything you want to ask, Tom, before we depart today?
I don't think there is. I think that's good. I'm still kind of floating in the Giant's Causeway, and I'll have to look up Queen Charlotte Island, and that's I'm still enjoying that vibe.
Yeah. I know. It's called the Haida Gwaii, and you absolutely want to look that up, people. Just look online at the beauty. There's something magical about that place. It is literally, and you have to cross the Hecate Strait to get there. The Hecate Strait. You know what I'm saying? Hecate, the goddess of destruction and hardship kind of thing. Yeah. So you literally have to be initiated to spend time there. It's the most magical place, and it's really hard to get to. And you can get spit out if you're just going there to pillage. It's not going to happen. You will not get away with it. That place is literally a living entity on its own. And it's my go-to, but I haven't been able to go for 3 years, 2.5 years, because of this whole situation. When the lockdown happened, first of all, I was all ready to go with the plans and the ferry booked and everything. You have to book a ferry a long time ahead just to get on the island, right? You could fly there, but it's not the same. I like to road trip. And my road trip always takes me on the highway of tears to get there, by the way. And all the way, I always bring sage to the island. Like, I'll usually bring it to, I sell it. I was doing this anyway for years, where I'd bring bulks of sage and sweetgrass and sell it to various different places so they could distribute it, you know what I mean, in their little galleries and whatnot. So I'd always have like a carload or a truckload of sage and smudge on the way, on all kinds of different magical smudges, and I clear energy all the way on that highway of tears. I've been doing it for years.
Good for you.
How do you spell the Hecate Strait, please, Janine?
Hecate. So the goddess Hecate. Geez, I don't know. You might have to just start. So I'm thinking HECK, Hecate, ATE. Try that. It'll probably correct us. And straight.
Okay.
like a strait. So it's a very interesting. A ferry even went down and was, they lost a couple people not that long ago, like 6, 8 years ago or something. They
And what
literally
part of Canada is this?
the very most northwest point in Canada. So you go all the way to the very most northwest, Prince Rupert, and then you take a ferry. You can either go to the northwest.
So is it up near Alaska? Is it up near Alaska?
Yeah. You can either go to Alaska from there, or you can go to the Haida Gwaii.
Huh.
Amazing.
Wow.
After all this is done, we need to take a big old world tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know you got to go, Bryce. So
yes, absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much. We will do this all again. I'm sure we'll have even more stuff to talk about next time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.